Hey all, so this is the 11th war of the season, our second straight rematch. So, 5 wars after we matched 4 Loki for the first time this season, we matched them again. And immediately following the first 4 Loki war, we had matched Salty Warriors, and here we are again against Salty Warriors 5 wars later. So, that's odd. But for those of you who don't remember or who weren't around for that one, that was our most painful loss of the season. It was 12-13, and we gave up some truly nonsensical, painful deaths. And so we really, really did not want to lose this one again. We definitely have the roster advantage, we have the experience advantage, and as they proved last time, that's not an auto win, but we intended to do everything in our power to make sure that we came out on top this time. As I mentioned last time, with us beating 4 Loki, we are higher in the top 10 right now than we realized we could be. And so every win really feels like it matters. Every attack bonus matters. So heading into this Jabari fight with Nimrod, this is not an ideal matchup at all. But it's also not a particularly dangerous one, and so we were looking both for somebody to take this Jabari and for a spot in tier 1 for me, and so I was like, I'll figure it out. So normally against Jabari, if you're not using an explicit counter like Storm X or House of X, you want to bait heavies and then counter her heavies with combos. You don't normally parry that much because she purifies it and gains Huntress charges. But against Nimrod, she's going to gain a debuff and purify it and gain Huntress charges every time she throws a special. So I knew going into this fight, she's going into the hunt. It's just going to happen. So because Nimrod benefits so much from parrying, because while he's in Titan Protocol, it gives him extra armor ups, which build more protocol charges, and then while he's in Blitz or Eradicate, he gets an attack bonus based on those armor ups. I figured, you know what? It's better to just parry, intentionally put that cleanse on cooldown, know she's going to go into the hunt, and actually be in control of my charges and push her back, maintain the spacing, make sure that we're not back at the wall. So I planned all that out, executed it what I think was pretty well, and funnily enough, kind of with the last few fights that I've taken with Nimrod, where I feel like I've over prepared a little bit, a single special 2 finished it because I was boosted to the 9s. And he's just high sig enough now that he does so much shock damage. So probably overthought that one a little bit, but if you have a smaller or lower sig Nimrod, well then maybe those thoughts help you. So we've taken Kitty on Mixmaster several times now. I don't always do it super cleanly. I think right there I was thinking, oh, I need to change modes, which is stupid because that's not what you do here. You wait for the mode to come back around. If she has more prowess than that, so be it. You just wait for a heavy, you look for your opening, and you throw that special one in Eradicate because it gives you the giant energize once he's duped, and it puts that giant energy vulnerability on her as well. And then every time she gains prowess, you gain a protocol charge. And so in my previous experiences, by the time I've gotten back to the special 2, or by the time that Eradicate has a chance to expire, I've picked up protocol charges again, and Eradicate just refreshes. As you can tell, that is not what happened here. It actually expired, and we threw a special 2 in Titan Protocol, which does not inflict shocks, at 9 protocol charges just before it looped back around, and wasted a ton of potential damage. That would have ended the fight. But that's okay, because Nimrod is that good of a counter. We just go right back into the plan. See, this time after the special 1, we did refresh Eradicate. And so when we go and throw the special 2, we're still in Eradicate, we do tons of damage. So I definitely could have played that better with just a little bit more awareness, but it's such a good counter it doesn't matter. So you may have noticed that this is a 5-star and this is not a war fight. And that is because my Venompool fights are cursed. I think I have taken like 5 of them in war and lost 3 of them to, oops, your iPad is now exactly full right now. You're going to lose this recording. It just keeps happening. And it is what it is. So I had Nova on 5B, the Sadist node, Ebb and Flow Intercept. Originally was considering taking it with Tigra because I've become a lot more comfortable with that matchup, until Nerd reminded me helpfully that Sadist would mean his attack value was really high and it just wasn't worth the risk to me. So I had Venompool, and that's a good option, but let's talk through the potential issues. The biggest one is what you're seeing happen right now, which is that if he just chills for a bit, he can go unblockable, he can have 2 bars of power, and I need to be on top of that evade. So I dueled pretty extensively for it to make sure I was still clean on it. Another thing that you're going to see throughout here, if you use most methods of removing Nova's Fury, it will count as a nullify, and therefore will take 25 charges away from him and keep the fight more under control than what you're seeing here. But Venompool famously does not nullify, he omnoms. Now this is great because it gets around Mystic Ward, it doesn't trigger return policy, but it's also working against us on this node, and so I'm just expecting Nova to go unblockable multiple times. But I'm also not concerned, other than that one unintentional block right there, which is exactly why I'm dueling for it, right? But I'm not concerned otherwise because I know I don't have to take a lot of blocked hits. I don't have to reparry him. I don't have to bait his heavies. If he just throws, or if he just dashes forward enough, he'll gain power, he'll throw specials, those will give me my openings. I know how to punish them. So right there I did intentionally block a few hits because I wanted to be able to heavy counter his heavy with my own, and therefore get the Vicious buff, because once we've ramped a little bit, once we've gotten our 5 unique blender buffs, the basic idea is to build to the special 3, and then because this node has protection from Ebb and Flow Intercept, and we are not going to bother intercepting because it just isn't safe against Nova most of the time, instead what we do on the actual node, even though the special 3 killed him here, is because of the attack reduction from protection, what we do is after the special 3, we then build back up to a special 1, throw that, it eats his Furies and possibly an Energize buff too, it applies yet another smaller bleed, and because the cooking meter is spicy and he just omnommed buffs, he loops back over 100, pauses both the large and the small bleed on the opponent, and I was pretty sure that Nova wouldn't last much longer at that point. And he didn't. It was a very good fight. And then we had Peni, where a lot of the basics of the fight are very similar. We just don't have buffs to eat, so we're not going to mess around with the special 1. And when we throw the special 3, we know that she's going to purify it as soon as she dashes forward. So ideally, we try and keep her from dashing forward, and we like push her over a bar, we hit into her block. Maybe we can get some uptime out of that bleed, but we also know we don't need to. I did practice going for a few light intercepts. I don't think any of them actually worked here, but that's okay. You just really don't need them. I think I maybe got one early to help me get the shield down, but after that, once you start building Furies, once your modified attack is high enough, you can break the shield pretty quickly, even through protection. And so you can do enough damage, Venompool keeps ramping, him hitting into Peni's block continues ramping him, her specials into his block continues ramping him. He's just in no danger of a timeout here. See, right there, we paused the bleed because she hit into our block and that was multiple hits. But there, even though we got the intercept, and so that was really nice, she did purify the bleed by dashing forward and triggering Mighty Charge. That's okay, we got in real damage there. From the time we threw that special 3 to the time where she charged forward, really, really solid damage. This fight is very much under control. And notice that every time she tries to auto block us and power burn us, because we're immune to power burn, we ramp even further. We now have, I think that's 8 Furies. It's so hard to tell with where the combo meter is, and that's honestly stupid. When Kabam is done with the inputs, I hope the UI gets an overhaul. Anyway, that was unfortunate. That caught me completely off guard. And then I think it throws me enough that I tried to go for an intercept and mess up at some point here. Yeah, right there. I just didn't need to do that. I didn't need to drop protection. I had made so much progress. Like, look at how we're still meaningfully dropping the shield despite protection being up. I didn't need to go for another intercept. I just should have built back up to this like I did here, thrown this. Even if she dashes forward immediately and purifies it, sending the cooking meter spicy again is going to mean we pick up even more Furies. But that was enough. Just a few ticks did enough. Notice that even with how quickly she purified the bleeds in this fight, it made up about 20% of the total damage. So it's very much worth going for those special 3s. So on to Sersi. We had actually originally assigned this to a Claire, and I was going to take Tigra over to Super Scroll on 54 until we realized that Aspect of Evolution means that Super Scroll gets more than 100% ability accuracy there, which allows him to gain armors through Tigra's Neutralize. So very sneaky placement by Salty there. But we caught that and sent a Sorcerer over to Scroll, and so that freed me up to take this Sersi. So, same basic fight plan that I've outlined a few times against her, just parry, get your Neutralize up, then bait the heavy. That allows you to get those ruptures really easily. So right there, I felt the lag on the dash in. Like, I knew that I had not dashed forward when I wanted to, and so as soon as I could, I blocked. Because I just knew that if I went for the heavy, she was going to hit me. I felt something wrong about the timing. Like, that is how this fight goes wrong if you get hit by the special one. And I was aware that if there were any input problems that could happen, so thankfully I caught it there, just ended up blocking it because she threw it while Neutralize was still up. She didn't gain the unblockable buff. I had an invulnerability anyway, and so that was a super clean, very quick fight. So glad we were able to do that and caught the difference, because Campo also did very well on the Sorcerer fight with Skrull, and we ended up winning this rematch. Funnily enough, their death total was about what it was last time, but we dramatically improved, dropping it by about half to 7. Which is still not our best, but was enough. That's pretty close to our goal. BG3 died twice, which is, again, within our goal. Like, we prefer 0 or 1, but yeah, it was good work. Inputs have just been really bad this last week or so. I feel like we've had at least one a war where it's just something has happened and you can tell watching the fight that, like, no, they definitely tried to block and it just didn't work. So that's highly unfortunate. Hope that the refractor that they're using on the CCP, goes through its finishing touches and comes out to the rest of us soon, because we know they're working on it. That's why I'm not going to harp on it too much, but it feels like it's getting worse again. So really hope they fix it soon. But anyway, so that brings us up to another win and puts us in the top 5. I believe at the end of this war, we were sitting 4th. And so depending on who loses, who we match up against, if we win again, top 3 is not out of the question. We'll see what War 12 brings. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and until next time, thanks so much for watching, and take care.